I boom. Good morning. Good morning. One time I don't have my new tripod. First of all, it's my birthday. It's my 36th birthday. Happy birthday to me. Good morning. I went for a walk, and you do reflections on your birthday around this time, and so I just thought I'd share a little bit. I really feel like I figured out a big key to life, particularly for our generation. And I know it sounds bold and audacious, but I think I really figured out like how to have eternal life. And so just bear with me. I don't know how long or short this video is gonna be. So if it gets too long, come back to it, because I do believe that it's going to be an important one. I think the message that I have, I think it's gonna be important. I think when you get to moments like this in your life, these special moments, I think you have a tendency to, like, I don't know, it's something about your brain or consciousness that really allows you to pull from a lot of depth and insight. And I feel like this is a really important time to share this. But in my manifesto, the Overman's Manifesto, link should be in the description. The two biggest sections I talk about, subsections, were God and infinity. Infinity is the biggest section, and it's last year I got really interested in the concept of infinity. Start studying I think it first started with studying different dimensions, like what is 4D, 5D, 10th, 11 dimensions, all this kind of stuff. And there are people who are way smarter, way more talented, who can tell you about all this stuff. I'm not here to talk about the technical things, but one of the biggest concepts that I took away from infinity, and why I felt that it was so important to put it in the book, is that everything is real. Right? Like, everything is real. And it's really interesting because it's a paradox, because how does this fit into my manifesto, eternal life, and everything, right? So as you guys know, I grew up in a Christian, particularly in a Christian cult. I was in a Christian cult for 13 years, 8 of those years as an adult. And much of that time as an adult I spent as a leader. And so I always tell people, listen, I'm a former cult leader, because I feel like one of the reasons why we're not growing as individually and collectively as a society is because people aren't being honest about who they truly are, who they truly were. And so I think that's why when you get figures like Donald Trump, and when you get figures like these guys, I think the reason why everyone's afraid of them is because deep down everyone's afraid of their shame, the things that they're ashamed of. And what I really realized is this is my life, period. There's no way around it. This is my life. And so there's no reason why I need to be ashamed of something if I've taken accountability for it, responsibility for it, and I have. It's a lot of hard work coming out of a cult, a lot of deconstructing you got to do. And I think that's why I'm able to help so many Americans deconstruct from the cult of America. I think history is going to remember us as one big cult, not really as a country, because the ideas and principles that America has always said it's been about, it's just never been about. But in Christianity, there's this concept of eternal life, and everything that Christians do today is all about eternal life, right? Oh, it's about eternal life, about living forever. And it's really interesting because infinity helped me understand that everything is real. And when I think about that, and I talk about this in the early parts of the manifesto, when I talk about, hey, what is real, right? We used to think we know what real meant. And then in 2022, physicists came up, found themselves with the local reality problem. It's like, oh, snap, things aren't real till we see it, right? And it's very interesting because when I think about eternal life, and you think about living forever, I think that's real. And it's very real. And I think for the first time in human history, I think it's actually completely achievable. And I don't know that I've achieved eternal life, but I do know that my life is going to ring on for a very long time. And it's kind of cool to know that, because I say this all the time. For the first time in human history, history is 3D. We are reporting on history as it's happening. That's never been done before in human history. And a lot of people don't realize is that you don't get to write history by yourself. Like, I was on Twitter. God, that app sucks now. It sucks being on Twitter because you don't even know what's real or fake over there. And so I was on Twitter scrolling a little bit, and Elon was like, we need to rewrite history. And it's like the fact that one person thinks that they're even going to, like, what do you guys think is going to happen when you die? Like, people don't understand, like, billions of people, like hundreds of thousands of people die every day, and billions of people do not care. Like, we are so trapped in our own bubble that we think that the way that we achieve eternal life is in this life. No, the way that you achieve eternal life is that your life becomes meaningful for the lives of the rest of eternity. And with these cameras, I don't think y'all understand that, like, if you do something great and you're authentic, your life is gonna create meaning for lives for I don't know how long, hundreds, thousands of years. Think about who we talk about today. Think about the Platos and the Socrates and the Jesuses and the Nietzsches and the George Washingtons, even though a lot of the founding fathers, story is myth. But think about all the people we still think about. These guys in some way have achieved eternal life. Why? Because their impact on society. Society can credit a bunch of things to their ideas. And that's really where eternal life comes from. It's whatever consciousness revealed to you in your, brief material existence. If you are able to take that and make it impactful to the people, sometimes it's not even in your generation. Sometimes they don't even discover your stuff for centuries later, but when it becomes meaningful and impactful, you achieve eternal life. And this eternal life is going to be different than how these guys, the Socrates, the Jesus, because we got cameras. And so people are really going to be able to see you. And I don't think a lot of people in America understand that a lot of what is posted online is noise. And a lot of it is BS. And a lot of you guys, due to the content you post, due to not doing anything meaningful and impactful in your life, like, y'all don't understand, like, you're going to be forgotten the second you leave. Once you stop being a bag or entertainment to people. This is why I don't want to come online and just strictly be entertainment, because that would be my value to you guys. And once I stop being entertaining, this is why people become loops. This is why you meet a person online, and when you first come into their channel, it's cool. And then before you know it, every single video has got an ad read, and then it's got 2 ad reads, and then they're just reporting the same stuff over and over. The titles get more clickbaity because that's what it becomes about. Right? Nothing's meaningful. Everything's about getting to the bag. Everything's about making sure, getting the next thing. And it's like, you guys are trying to build monuments in this life. Everybody's monument during their lifetime falls. Everybody's. There's going to be a new richest man in the world, a new most beautiful girl, a new success, a new technology. Like, building your monument high is not how you achieve eternal life. At least not in a good way. How you achieve eternal life is your consciousness becomes meaningful and impactful to lives that stretch beyond your own. That's how you achieve eternal life. And now that we have cameras, people can see it. I say this all the time, like, somebody is watching this video 5 years from now. Somebody can watch this video 100 years from now. History is 3D. I have the ability to speak into the future because of this camera. A lot of people are afraid of the cameras. Oh, the surveillance. I'm not afraid of what they see. The issue is not that the government can use these cameras to spy on us. The issue is that the people are afraid of what the government might see. Take my life. Add to the legend. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been doing dope shit for a really long time. Like, I've been fighting cults. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been fighting cults. I've been, suing the government. Oh, by the way, I got an opportunity. Like, this is something, like, I think, like, if I get like, if I do this, this is going to make my life ring into eternity. So right now I got as you guys know, my daughter was abused by her special education teacher, and I sued the school district in a federal court. Well, in some federal districts, parents aren't allowed to represent their parents, or parents aren't allowed to represent their children in court. The children have to have an attorney. And I know on its face, people are like, why would you ever go to court without an attorney? Or, of course, that's in the best interest of the child. But attorneys cost money. When you tell children that they must have an attorney, what you're saying is that even though you cannot work, even though you're a part of the class of people that are legally not permitted to earn wages, until you use wages to buy professional legal help, you do not get access to the courts. We are forcing the only class of people in society to purchase professional help to get access to the courts when their parents could easily do it. Their parents could easily, easily get in there. And yes, the justice system is complicated. That's the problem. That's the problem. Yes, I understand all this. And all these are problems that I'm trying to solve with my life, with my time here. So we got, so I sued them in federal district court. It got thrown out because we didn't have a lawyer. And so then I appealed it to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Well, they just affirmed the lower court's decision. So now I'm about to write a writ of centaurii, whatever they call it. See, our legal system is so dumb. We use these ancient words that nobody uses. They don't mean anything, right? This is what I'm saying. Like, when the stuff that we're doing has no meaning, it just frustrates the people, and then it doesn't get remembered. Like a writ of centaurii or whatever. Like, nobody talks like that, bro. Just say you got to petition the court. Like, use regular words, But it's about enshrining old power and making people respect something that's not respectable, right? But I'm about to do a writ to the Supreme Court. Now, it's a less than 1% chance that they take it, but if they were to take it, it would give me the ability to argue that the court should be opened up across the whole United States. That it doesn't make any sense that children must have lawyers to get into court. They can't work, and that means that poor children don't have rights, because if your mom or dad can't afford a lawyer, right, then it just means you're out of luck. Or if you can only afford a crappy lawyer, you're out of luck. And so I think it's one of these things where I'm super excited for that, because that's another one of these things where I go, fam, if I do that, if I make it to where parents all across America can represent their children in court, and people never have to hire a lawyer if they don't have to or they can't afford to, bro, that's historic, bro. My life is going to mean something for all of eternity. And if I don't, I don't. But it's like, fam, how many people can say that, like, as a pro se litigant with no help, they got all the way to the Supreme Court? The system is built so that people like me can't even get to this point, bro. The system is intentionally built so that a black man could never even get to the Supreme Court. And yeah, there's a 1% chance that I could do it, but it's like, fam, if I did that, right? And that's on top of all the other stuff I've been doing, right? I really should have brought my tripod. That's on top of all the other stuff I've been doing. I got a $2 million lawsuit against an old cult that I have a pretty strong chance of winning. I wrote the Overman's Manifesto, a theory for everything. That's a one-of-a-kind project, a one-of-a-kind document. Nobody has ever written something like that. I pretty much took what Nietzsche did and expanded it. It's like, fam, like, that shit's gonna mean something to a lot of people for a long time. And in that way, I feel like my life, like my physical life, these videos, they're gonna mean something. There's gonna be a reason to watch my videos 28 years from now, you know. You're gonna be able to say something, or you're gonna be able to get something from my videos, you know. Let me sit down again. 20, 30 years from now. So I think that's what I really wanted to come out and say today. Like, the path to start walking back. Yeah, I think the path to eternal life, it's real. Everything is real. And it's like I said in the manifesto, right? Reality is self, society, and the unknown, right? Where a lot of people miss reality is in the unknown, right? You're worried about the cameras being used for surveillance. Okay, but what if there was another way the cameras could be used? What if the cameras could be used to achieve eternal life? No matter what what if what the government saw made them afraid? What if what the government saw when they surveilled us, we didn't care because we were authentic and we like who we are, right? The unknown, like, what is there a different way? Is there a different angle to think about this or use this, or, that's how you figure out what's real. You got to do something that's never been done. Try to think about things and opportunities and issues and problems and solutions in ways that you've never thought about before, And I think in that way, like, your life is going to mean something for a lot of people. History's 3D. Your body, your voice, right? Like, Jesus, people worship Jesus now when we have no like first-hand account of anything that he did, and people still worshiping him to this day. What if you did something that meant so much to billions of people, and it was on camera and people saw it in flesh, and it was radical and it was different? This is what I'm saying. Like, if there was ever a time in human history to step up and do something radical, this is the foundation of history. Humans are going to live for another thousands of years. Look at where technology is at now. Look at how fast it moves. I genuinely believe we could not conceptualize what the world is going to be like 1,000 years from now. But humans are going to be here. Humans 1,000, we survive. It's what we do. We survive. I don't know who it's going to be, but we're going to survive. And so it's one of these things where it's like, man, when we're creating stuff, we can't just be creating content. We got to create things that's going to mean something for the next generation and the generation after that. So I think in that way, man, eternal life is much closer than y'all think, man. I think it's all in how you live. I think that's going to determine whether your life matters for eternity. How you live will determine whether or not people care about you in eternity from now. So, love you guys. Bye.